My husband fell to his death while burning his belongings. A tattered book slipped from the flames, scattering a few bankbooks, several property deeds, and a letter. Son, by the time you see these, I will have already left this world to reunite with your mother. Selena, I have left you enough to live a wealthy life. I stared in disbelief, trying to convince myself that this wasn't real. With trembling hands, I flipped through the documents. The total assets amounted to 50 million, and everything, including the house we lived in, was under Ethan's name. Furious, I dug up Nestor's grave, but I never expected to exhaust myself to death in the process. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the time before I even married Nestor. Chapter 1. A strange phone call came in. I thought it was my son. Ms. Lisa, please come to Jingyuan District 1 to claim your husband's body. An hour later, I arrived at Jingyuan District 1. On the way, I kept calling Nestor, but no one answered. Ms. Lisa, based on our identification, the deceased is indeed Nestor, your husband. My legs went weak as I used all my strength to step forward. The man's facial features were unrecognizable. He was still wearing the suit I had paired for him that morning. I widened my eyes, desperately searching for proof that it wasn't Nestor. But I found none. Just as I could no longer hold myself together, my son called. Mom, can you ask Dad to visit me this weekend? I'm under a lot of pressure. All right. Mom will come see you this weekend. Yes. I still had my son. I couldn't collapse. After the scene investigation, autopsy, and security footage review, homicide was ruled out. The surveillance footage showed that when Nestor went upstairs, he was completely alone. He had brought some small dishes and alcohol with him. The coroner extracted alcohol and remnants of those dishes from his stomach. I couldn't bear Nestor's sudden death. My body had reached its limit, but my son couldn't go without seeing his father one last time. This cruel reality was something he had to process himself. Lisa, did you push my dad? Did you argue with him? He promised just last week that he would come see me. The funeral was a mess. I opened my mouth but couldn't say a word. In the end, I fainted. By the time I was discharged from the hospital, Nestor's Tookie, the 7-day ritual after death, had already passed. I thought Ethan wouldn't want to see me. Mom, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said those things to you. I was just blinded by anger. Please forgive me. Smiling, I patted his head. That was your father. What is there for me to hold against you? I held his hand and walked toward home, not noticing the coldness in Ethan's eyes. Chapter 2. The empty house felt unfamiliar to me. Ethan reacted quickly, catching me before I could collapse. Mom, you still have me. We will get through this together. I wanted to visit Nestor's grave, but Ethan avoided my gaze. Mom, please don't blame me. I just wanted Dad and Mom Selena to be reunited. Ethan, how could you call her Mom? Since when did Selena become your mother? She nearly lost you once. Why didn't you ask for my opinion? I'm your real mother. Selena not only cheated on your father but almost let you get kidnapped by traffickers. Do you really think your dad would want to be buried with her? Ethan played a recording. Son, when I'm gone, bury me with your mom Selena. Even though she betrayed me, I still love her so much. As for your mother, the recording abruptly cut off. There was no need to hear the rest. Fine, I'd just find a handsome young man to be my grave companion instead. Following Nestor's family traditions, I gathered and burned his belongings. But when an old book fell open, revealing bank books and a letter, I was stunned. How could our salaries ever amount to 50 million? One house might make sense, but several? And all of them were prime school district properties. As I carefully read the letter, I realized that Nestor's death was a lover's suicide, but there had to be secrets he kept hidden. Oh, you found out? Tisk. It's my fault for not finding these things sooner. But even if you did, it's useless, because they all belong to me. Ethan lunged forward and snatched everything from my hands. I was already weak, and with just one push, I fell to the ground. Lisa, look at yourself now. What difference is there between you and a maid? At least Mom Selena was better. Be smart and move out soon. After all, this house isn't yours. Why? Ethan, how could you treat me like this? I gave up everything for you. I was a stay-at-home mother, sacrificing my entire life. And now, you call me your maid? It was just like those ridiculous TV dramas. Like father, like son, both of them were heartless. Selena, I envy you, even in death. This family still worships you. You must be so happy. I looked around at the home I had once decorated with love. Now, it was nothing but a joke. I had been played like a fool, used as a free servant. Nestor, you disgust me. Using my memory, I found one of the houses. It was a villa. Even from the outside, I could tell it was decorated exactly how Selena liked it. Oh, isn't this our little maid? Come to admire my parents' house? Well, today, young master will grant you that wish. Ethan smirked, his eyes filled with open malice. Chapter 3. The villa exuded warmth and coziness. Dad and Mom Selena always stayed here together. We were the real happy family of 3. No wonder Ethan called Selena Mom. They had a real home together. And I was just a spinning top, tirelessly running around, taking care of father and son. Ha ha ha. Lisa, what a joke you are. The walls were covered with warm family photos. Selena, nestled between the 2 heartless wolves, Nestor and Ethan, smiling as if she had the perfect life. A family of 3. A happiness I had never seen before. It's all your fault. If not for you, Mom Selena wouldn't have been so devastated. She wouldn't have fainted and ended up committing suicide. Dad went to be with her. And you evil woman, are destined to die alone. Selena's suicide had been nothing but an act. She had staged the entire performance. And in the end, the wind simply blew her off the edge. Nestor truly loved her. Even his way of dying matched hers. The man I had loved for 20 years. Even in death, his heart still belonged to someone else. I had stood by him through every spring and autumn, raised his son, been praised as the perfect wife and mother. And what was the point? What good did my self-sacrifice bring me? Now, I just wanted to dig up Nestor's grave so that even in death, he wouldn't have peace. Why should he have lived a comfortable life and left so easily? I would tear open his grave, scatter his ashes, one handful into the trash, one into the toilet, and one under his precious son's pillow. Let's see how his good son repays his father's memory. Ethan had already moved on from his father's tragic loss, spending his days eating and drinking well with his beloved grandmother. As for me, he had already made it clear that I should disappear from his sight. The more I thought about it, the more excited I became. But as I kept digging, the breath in my lungs ran out, my vision blurred, and I collapsed headfirst in front of the grave. Chapter 4. When I opened my eyes again, I woke up in a damp, shabby little room. The unfamiliar surroundings made me pause until memories flooded back. This was the house Nestor and I had lived in when we first got married. I had thrown everything away to be with him, squeezing into this tiny home, convinced that we would build a beautiful future together, and I still believed in a bright future. But this time, that future would belong only to me. Lisa, Nestor said he's busy today and won't be coming home. Selena's smug voice echoed from outside. It hit me like a cold slap. This wasn't a dream. I was really back. Back then, I hadn't doubted anything. I thought it was just work. That Selena coming over was simply convenient. But now I knew better. What kind of business required his ex-wife to personally inform me? How ridiculous. Oh, how thoughtful of you, coming all this way just to deliver the message and to flaunt your place in Nestor's heart while you're at it. Before, I always felt guilty toward her. No matter what she said, I had kept silent, waiting for her anger to subside. But not this time. Lisa, why do you always settle for other people's leftovers? She was right. I had been blind, picking up the scraps Selena didn't want. Good point. You should have just stayed with Nestor from the start. How foolish of me to take the opportunity, only to end up alone in an empty bed. Selena hadn't expected me to speak so bluntly, even less so that I would fight back. Lisa, if you know you took advantage of the situation, how do you still have the nerve to cling on to him? Oh, that's my problem. What's wrong? Feeling exposed? Dropping the act of being my dear sister? Lisa, I'll be waiting for the day Nestor stops loving you. She stomped her foot and stormed off. I ran after her, yelling loud enough for her to hear. You don't have to wait. Nestor has always loved you. She turned back, triumphant. Lisa, doesn't it break your heart? Even after I betrayed him, he still loves me. Yes, it did break my heart. That's why I had come back. To make you both pay. Lisa, why did you let Selena in again? You and Nestor are married now. She shouldn't be interfering with your happiness. The voice belonged to none other than my dear mother-in-law. Just returning from her evening stroll, she looked even more energetic than before, as if this broken little house was something to be proud of. Mom, no matter what, Selena was once your daughter-in-law. How could I refuse to let her in? I raised my voice deliberately. Selena hadn't gone far. The old woman huffed. That filthy woman? My daughter-in-law? Ha! She's nothing but a disgrace. You are my real daughter-in-law. Of course. I was. Only an idiot like me would let them treat me like a fool. A few heads poked out from nearby. Hey, sis-in-law, is it true that your ex-daughter-in-law cheated on your son? My mother-in-law's face twisted. That barren hen knew her place. She divorced my son on her own. A new voice interrupted. Mom, what are you talking about? Selena wasn't the one who couldn't have children. I was. The busy Nestor had finally shown up. Of course, whenever Selena was involved, Nestor would always come running. A murmur of whispers rippled through the crowd. Poor Lisa. What a shame. Yeah. My mother-in-law's face turned deathly pale as she scurried back inside. Didn't you say you had things to do? I started. But Nestor cut me off. Lisa, I never expected you to be this kind of person. You've ruined our family's reputation. Oh, but weren't those your own words? Nestor pointed a trembling finger at me, but couldn't say another word. Chapter 5. Selena and I used to be good friends. Nestor, with his thick brows and scholarly demeanor, was the object of admiration for countless girls, including me. But over time, I convinced myself that I wasn't worthy of him. Only Selena had the courage to chase after him. And before long, they fell in love. My best friend and the man I secretly loved were together. But I felt no jealousy, only silent blessings for them, until Selena cheated and got pregnant. Back then, Nestor locked himself away in this tiny house, drowning in alcohol instead of going to work. I found him and told him to get up, to pull himself together and work. The rest unfolded naturally. But I didn't accept him immediately. Liver cancer runs in my family. The average life expectancy is 50. Nestor said he didn't care, that I was still healthy, and as long as I took precautions, everything would be fine. I had no idea that his so-called deep love was only because he saw me as a walking blood bank. As Selena disappeared safely into the alleyway, Nestor finally lost control. Lisa, you're such a vicious woman. How could you push Selena into the spotlight like this? She was seduced by that man. If I hadn't been legally bound to you, do you think I would have ever loved you? People really do blurt out their true feelings when they're desperate. Realizing what he had just said, Nestor quickly grabbed me, trying to backtrack. Lisa, I didn't mean that. Without you, I would have lost my job today. I would have lost everything. Right. He still needed me to climb higher. But stepping stones aren't meant to be stepped on so easily. This time, I'd make sure they paid the price. Nestor, if you still love Selena so much, why don't you bring her back? I wasn't the one who cheated. So don't take your anger out on me. What's all this noise about? Stop arguing. My son is meant for great things. You're ruining his fortune with your nagging. Fine. I won't argue. I'll just call my father and have him take back Nestor's job. Since my father gave it to him in the first place, he can return to rotting in this tiny house, arguing with me, because that's what great men do, isn't it? With your family's background, marrying me was already the best luck you could have. So this was the same woman who had just called me the perfect daughter-in-law. It turns out she and her son were truly connected at heart. I must have been possessed to have once treated her like my own mother. Real kindness is never repaid with kindness. She simply believed that my devotion was expected. Of course, I would still fulfill my duties as a daughter-in-law, properly returning all the love she had given me. After all, when I was pregnant with Ethan, she took such good care of me. My parents, despite objecting to my marriage, still sent me endless tonics and supplements after I got pregnant. But my mother-in-law would always dismiss them. Those things from outside aren't good for you. Don't eat them. I'll get you fresh, natural food from the countryside. Her so-called natural food consisted of wild vegetables. As for the nourishing old hen soup, she drank it all herself before secretly refilling the pot with plain water. She had worked so hard to find those wild herbs. So even though they tasted awful, I forced myself to eat them. She trained me like an obedient dog, and I never let her down. Chapter 6. Using my argument with Nestor as an excuse, I returned to my parents' home. The moment I saw my aging parents, their hair now entirely gray, I couldn't stop my tears from falling. But this path, I had chosen it myself. I couldn't let them worry anymore. I just needed more time. Once I finished dealing with Nestor, I could finally take care of my parents in peace. Why are you back? Are you trying to curse me to an early grave? No, Dad. I wanted to tell you that I'm planning to divorce Nestor. A brief silence. As long as you're sure, that's all that matters. Relief softened my parents' expressions. That Nestor, he's too scheming. You just got married, and now you're divorcing? He's not going to agree that easily. I know, Dad, but trust me, I can handle it. My father nodded approvingly. But I had another reason for coming home. In my last life, after a massive rainstorm, Nestor's tiny shack collapsed. At the time, he was off romantically rekindling things with Selena, while his mother and I were nearly buried alive. Thankfully, the house was small, so I was able to escape quickly with only minor injuries. His precious mother, however, wasn't so lucky. She had been sleeping so deeply that she didn't move an inch when the roof caved in. Normally, I couldn't even twist open a bottle cap. But that night, I dug like a madwoman, desperate to find her. I clawed at the rubble with my bare hands until all my fingernails were gone. By sunrise, I finally found her, barely breathing. My body had already reached its limit. I had no recollection of how I even got her to the hospital. When Nestor returned home, glowing from his perfect night with Selena, his mother was in critical condition, and I was also in the emergency room. But he didn't even spare me a glance. Now, the life and death of him and his mother had nothing to do with me anymore. By morning, Nestor's house had collapsed. My father received a call from him at dawn. His house collapsed. Your mother-in-law, well, no one knows if she'll make it. Nestor isn't doing too well either. I heard his leg is broken. Nestor didn't meet up with Selena? He actually stayed home? Nestor. Oh, Nestor, you truly deserve this. My father didn't send him any money right away. Instead, he came to ask for my opinion. There was nothing to discuss. We wouldn't give him a single cent. Let him be chained to Selena forever, bound by his broken leg, to witness their undying love. The phone rang again. This time, I answered. Dad, please, just a little more money. My mom is still in critical condition. Can you send Lisa to the hospital to take care of us? Nestor, we just had a fight, and you didn't even apologize to me. The first thing out of your mouth is asking for money? Why the hell should I take care of you? You don't even plan on paying the money back, do you? Why don't you ask Selena to take care of you? What? Are you afraid she'll get tired? Well, my dad is afraid I'll get tired too. I hung up. I didn't want to hear his pathetic, unlucky voice any longer. Not another single penny would be wasted on him. Otherwise, my rebirth would have been for nothing. With them out of my life, I could finally cleanse myself of their bad luck. Chapter 7. I took my parents on a trip to Beijing. 4 years. They had always talked about wanting to see the city, but I had always put it off, claiming I had no time. But now, I had time, and they were still alive to enjoy it. When we returned home from our trip, Nestor was waiting at our doorstep with Selena. The moment he saw us, he lunged forward, ready to hit me. Lisa, do you think I'm giving you face? Look at me. I'm in this state, and you don't even spare me a glance. Where's the money? His crutch swung toward me. My father tried to intervene, but I quickly pulled him behind me. Dad, don't worry, the police will be here soon. I had anticipated this. I had called the police before we even arrived. Selena's face turned pale. Lisa, How could you call the police? Nestor is your husband. Husband? He's not my husband. He was never worthy of being my husband. You went through thick and thin together. He will always be your husband. Take good care of him, and we'll forget about the time you cheated on him. I almost laughed. Selena, look at you, trying to use my own sins to bury me while standing on your own filth. Nestor's eyes burned with fury, but he quickly composed himself. Adopting his usual gentle demeanor, he leaned in close, voice full of venom. If I go to prison, I swear, your whole family will suffer. The police arrived. I smiled at the officers. It's just a little marital quarrel. You know how couples are, fighting one moment, making up the next. They nodded and left soon after. Oh, but there was no making up. Did he think I'd take those hits for nothing? I grabbed his crutch and, with my father's help, shoved him to the ground. Nestor, so this is the real you? You enjoy hitting people, huh? He screamed. Selena, help me. Oh, right. I almost forgot about Selena. I swung the crutch right at his amputated leg. His leg had already been cut off, and his phantom limb pain must have been unbearable. But what I did only made it worse. As for Selena, I'd deal with her next. From what I had heard, Nestor lost his leg because he had no money for proper treatment. And my dear mother-in-law? She wasn't even treated at all. Nestor had left her to rot in the ruins of their collapsed home. Chapter 8. I had always been curious, where did Nestor get so much money? His tiny shack was practically falling apart. I had always assumed it was his only property. Even Selena had cheated on him because he was poor. When I went to the housing bureau to register my new property, the staff laughed at me. Why are you buying more houses? You already have one under Nestor's name. Can you even live in so many? A thunderous revelation. I took the address they gave me and went to check it out. The house was for Selena. He'd rather lose a leg than make Selena pay for his treatment. He didn't even bother treating his own mother. Would his precious mother wake up from rage if she knew? Inside the house, I overheard their conversation. Selena, I'm useless. If only I had gotten the money from Lisa earlier, I could have bought you that coat you wanted. Idiot. Your health is more important. Clothes can be bought anytime. Selena, you're so good to me. I love you so much. Aw, look at that. Men are pathetic. All the sacrifices I made for him, he treated them as a given. But for Selena, even though she gave him nothing, he worshipped her. I took several photos of their loving moment. Nestor, you'd better love Selena well. As a dutiful daughter-in-law, I decided to visit my dear mother-in-law. She was lying in a pile of garbage, as if she had become one with the trash. Looking at her, I didn't feel satisfaction, just the truth of karma. Lisa, help me. Take me to the hospital. It hurts so much. She begged me, but this had nothing to do with me anymore. I had already fulfilled my duties in my past life, and she hadn't even appreciated it. I held up my phone and showed her the photos of Nestor and Selena living comfortably. That's your good son and his wife, enjoying life. Meanwhile, you don't even have a roof over your head. She stared at the picture. Suddenly, she no longer looked weak. Nestor, I raised you with my own hands, and this is how you repay me? What spell did Selena put on you? She screamed and sobbed, her cries echoing in the empty ruins. Then, a question struck me. Why wasn't Selena's baby ever born? I clearly remembered she had been pregnant, but I never saw the child. Her expression twisted. That bastard child would have ruined my son's reputation, so I made her get an abortion. The doctor said she'd never have children again. I smirked, pulled a few thousand yuan from my bag, tossed it at her feet. Consider this your payment for that information. She couldn't die too soon. Not yet. Chapter 9. Buying a house, how could that possibly add up to 50 million? Just as I was wondering, my father brought me some news. Something happened in Jingyuan district. They dug someone out from the cement. So that's how it was. Jingyuan district had been around for a long time. No wonder Nestor chose to jump from there. The compensation was higher. That money? I never saw a cent. Adding up his salary over the years, the house, and everything else, it almost made sense. I checked the timeline. In my past life, I was already pregnant by now. Ethan, your birth was a mistake. I will not give birth to you this time. Just the thought of carrying Nestor's child. Just the thought of Ethan calling someone else mom. It made my chest ache. So that's why Selena loved you so much. She couldn't have kids anymore. I went to Nestor and asked for a divorce. Lisa, are you insane? A divorce? Do you know how that would make me look? First Selena left me, and now you want to leave me too? Why? I scoffed. Because you're a pathetic excuse for a man. And tell me, what disabled man like you is worthy of me? If you hadn't sworn back then that you didn't care about my family's medical history, I would have never married you, even if I loved you. His face twisted. You want a divorce? Fine. Give me money and another house. I laughed. You have nothing, and you think I'd give you anything? This divorce is happening whether you like it or not. A cripple like him, how could he still be a doctor? I had my father find a reason to get him fired. A man with no morals had no right to wear the title of Angel in White. Chapter 10. I arranged to meet with Selena. I want to divorce Nestor. Help me, and I'll give you a generous sum in return. Selena scoffed. Lisa, who do you think I am? Do you think I need your money? Nestor's money is already with me. Ah, so that's how it is. No wonder getting anything for Ethan had been so difficult in my past life. I wonder what Nestor had to do to convince her. If you take this to court, you won't get a dime. Everything is saved under my name. Selena, you two are truly disgusting. So, because the money is in your hands, I can't do anything? I recalled something. Selena's old lover, Luis, worked at a bank. Luis. Selena had all this money, so why didn't she give any to you back then? Are you sure she wasn't fooling you? She wouldn't dare. That loser Nestor? No one wants him. Selena isn't blind. I can give her a good life. Can Nestor? Oh. Luis. Are you insulting me too? Well, he's not wrong about Nestor. Luis. Don't disappoint me now. As usual, I paid a visit to Selena's house, just to see her and Nestor. Luis worked fast. The moment Nestor left for his hospital checkup, Luis and Selena met at the hospital. Ah, Luis. This is a hospital, not here. What's the problem? Nestor is a cripple. What can he do? He wasn't a match for me before, and now that he's missing a leg, he's even more useless. Selena, when will you finally come back to me? Just wait a little longer. That idiot Lisa is actually divorcing Nestor. Once he gets the money, I'll trick him out of it, and then we can be together. Luis. In my past life, he was arrested for embezzling public funds. Could this money have been Selena's? Asterisk Nestor. Are you happy now? This is the woman you loved so much, the one you spent your entire fortune on just to give her a good life. Nestor snapped. You filthy traitors! I'll kill you. But as Luis had said, Nestor wasn't even a threat anymore. With just a light push, Nestor collapsed onto the ground. You crippled bastard. Come at me, see if I don't kill you first. I joined in. Every single kick Luis delivered landed on Nestor's amputated leg. Luis. Stop. This is a hospital. If you keep going, you'll kill him. Selena cowered, covering her head. The seed of hatred had already been planted. Now, I just had to sit back and watch the show. For now, I played the devoted wife, kindly taking care of Nestor, but only just enough to keep him alive. I needed him broken, desperate, dragging Selena down into hell with him. Chapter 11. I took my mother-in-law to the hospital to be treated along with Nestor. Whether she could be cured or not was another matter. Nestor. Your mother is also receiving treatment in the hospital. If it weren't for Selena taking over your house, would she be in this condition? Would you have ended up losing your legs? Nestor kept his eyes closed and said nothing, but 2 silent tears slid down his face. Then, I went to see my mother-in-law. Your son lost his house because of Selena. She also took all his money. If not for her, you would be living a comfortable life right now. My mother-in-law looked at me with despair. Lisa, I beg you, do whatever it takes to cure me. I want Selena to return every last cent to Nestor. Fine. I'll pay for your treatment. Don't worry. The most important thing is that you stay alive. She grabbed my hands. her grip trembling. Lisa, my dear daughter-in-law, I have wronged you. No need to apologize. She had wronged me far too many times. She pretended not to like Selena. Yet whenever Selena showered her with gifts, she spoke ill of me behind my back. She helped Nestor deceive me. She even allowed Ethan to call Selena mom. How could I let her die so easily? Selena arrived at the hospital room, bringing a bland, tasteless soup for Nestor. As soon as she stepped in, she fell to her knees. Selena, please. I don't deserve such a grand gesture. Lisa, Nestor is already in this state. Do you really have to keep making things difficult for me? Wasn't she the one who came looking for me? Get out. I never want to see you again. Nestor, I had my reasons. If Luis finds out that I have all your money, he'll force me to give it to him. You know he works at the bank. Oh, really? Just one bank? Hilarious. As if banks had the power to magically turn houses into money. Nestor remained silent. Selena realized she couldn't keep making things up. So she changed her approach, claiming she did it all to pay for medical treatments and to have a child. She had no idea that this would completely enrage Nestor. A child? For what? So you can keep cheating on me? No, wait. Now I wouldn't even feel the pain of betrayal because I can't do anything anymore. I burst out laughing. I couldn't hold it in. Your child will be just as pathetic as you. I sneered. No point in even bringing them into this world. Selena left in shame, head hanging low. Nestor, I don't want your money, but at the very least, you should take back what belongs to you from Selena. Finally, Nestor decided to trust me and told me how much he had given Selena. Other than the house she was currently living in, everything else was still under his name. It was even more than I had expected. I had assumed he had put everything in Selena's name. Wow, he really was a spineless fool. He let his own mother live in a rundown shack while Selena enjoyed his wealth and luxury. Chapter 12. I took Selena to court. In the current legal system, she was officially recognized as a homewrecker, unlike the ridiculous laws that would come later. I quickly regained all the assets. Selena, you got exactly what you deserved. Honestly, I should be thanking you, otherwise, I never would have known Nestor had so much wealth. Selena glared at me, seething with rage. Lisa, you be *tch. If it weren't for Nestor's two-faced mother, always saying one thing and doing another behind my back, do you think I would have been manipulated by Luis? Yes. His mother always preferred to stab people with a soft knife, slow, painful, and unnoticed until it was too late. Before I even had the chance to tell Nestor that I had won the case, I received a call from the hospital. His mother was dead, smothered to death by Selena. Selena was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Everything she had gained turned to dust, considering how his mother had treated her. What Selena did wasn't entirely unjustified. When Nestor found out, he simply remained silent. Lisa, I want a child, he finally said. My mother worked hard to raise me, and I can't let our family lineage end with me. Oh, you want a child, so I'm supposed to have one for you? Nestor, you already have a child, but he's just as cold-blooded as you. If he were born, he'd only bring disaster. Thanks to Selena, I had successfully avoided Nestor touching me all this time. Nestor lowered his head, looking defeated. I'm sorry, Lisa, he murmured. I should have cherished our life together. I should never have kept in contact with Selena. Too late. Everything was too late. For once in my life, I wanted to live for myself, not be played for a fool, not be treated as a housemaid for his wretched family. I didn't attend his mother's funeral. Instead, I went on a trip with my parents. Nestor, despite his weakened body, still forced himself to organize the funeral. Luis showed up at the ceremony with a knife. He attacked Nestor in a frenzy, slashing him over and over again. In the end, Nestor bled out and died. Who would have thought Luis had real feelings for Selena? Because I wasn't at the funeral, I avoided the disaster completely. Luis was arrested and sent to prison, where he could reunite with Selena. With Nestor dead, I wasted no time finalizing our divorce. Being tied to Nestor in any way was nothing but misfortune for me. Now that I was free of all these wretched people, my real life was just beginning. Ethan was never born. Never again would I give birth to a blade that would be used to stab me in the back. As for Nestor's wealth, well, I supposed I could reluctantly inherit it. With this much money, I could afford to keep a few boyfriends for fun,